guys! Okay, so this is my video for today, and yes, I've dyed my hair. I'm thrilled with it. Okay, I still haven't read anything other than fanfiction, so I'm doing a book tag, and this tag was created by Jesse the Reader. I will link his original video in the description down below, and I thought it was a really fun idea to do before I do my bookshelf video, which will hopefully be coming soon. Okay, so it's called the Bookshelf Time Capsule Tag, and basically it's just I tell you about my bookshelves. So question 1 is give us an overview of your bookshelves. They're just your standard Billy bookcase bookshelves from IKEA. Cannot recommend them enough. And yeah, they just hold my books. They're white. I stick posters on them, as you can see. Yeah, that's about all I can say. Alright. 2. Which shelf on your bookshelf is your favorite? I hate this question. I hate this question. Okay, this video is also going to require a lot of editing from me, so bear with me. I hope this works well. Okay, so the question was, which one is your favorite? And I'm like, how are you making me choose between my babies? Because, like, I love this Percy Jackson shelf I've got going on. Look at that. It's so beautiful. And then, as much as J.K. Rowling makes me want to weep at the moment, I love the way I've done my Harry Potter shelves. And then I love my Cassie Clare shelf and how it's got like a stele on it and some jewelry and that bookmark that I always use when I read books. And then I love my Game of Thrones shelf. I think it looks stunning so far. Like, it's running out of space rapidly, but at the moment I think it looks amazing. So yeah. And then we got another Cassie Clare there, but that's not done anywhere near as well, so I don't know which one is my favorite, I'm sorry. Okay, next question. Do you keep every book you've ever read, or do you end up ditching those you don't end up loving? My answer at the moment is keep, but it's not always been this way. Like, when I've moved across continent twice, so naturally I couldn't take every single book I owned with me both times, so we had to cull. And so I don't remember the first time very much. I just know that some of those books I didn't have when I was in Africa, which means I did cull them. Second time, I made the executive decision and I had to leave behind books that some of them I regret that I left behind. And I've bought replacements of a couple since because I've caved. But I ended up leaving behind books that I thought I'd outgrown. So, the Saddle Club, Babysitter's Club, some Maisie books, Maisie the cat, not Maisie the mouse, and Animal Arc. I had a lot more Animal Arc books that I left behind. So yeah, I have done a cull, but at the moment I'm keeping every book I buy or get given. 4. What do you do when your bookshelves fill up? My bookcases are full. So what I do is things get strategic, or I have piles around my room that I put them in, and yeah, things just get very crowded. And then buy more bookcases when I have money and have space. 5. Do you have an organization method or a method you would love to try? No. I don't have an organization method beyond keep series together when possible. My Emily Rhoda books are not currently together, but that's because my shelves ran out of space and it's very sad. But they're mostly together. And my only rule is keep series together. I can't do color coding ever. I will admit it does look very pretty, but it hurts my soul when I see books separated. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it, guys. Don't make me. And then there's and the only other method I have is like maybe I'll try and keep like books together. So if a shelf doesn't take up an entire series, then I'll try and put like things together. So like I have a shelf dedicated to childhood, I have a shelf dedicated to high fantasy, I have a Christian shelf, and I tried to put all my contemporaries together, the adult contemporaries. Yeah, that's about all I've done. But like that's just like a kind of rule. It's not strict rule at all. So yeah, the answer is I don't have an organizational method, and I probably would pain a lot of people. But that's how I roll. 6. How often do you reorganize your bookshelves? Whenever I move. The only other time I reorganize bookshelves is when I get new books. Then I'll reorganize them to try and fit them. Is there a shelf on your bookshelves that bothers you? I mean, I kind of got 2 shelves that are just completely stuffed with random books. Like, there's nothing cohesive there, and that bothers me because they're stuffed because I don't have space for these books. That's about it. 8. What color dominates your bookshelves? This question bothered me. I was just like, I don't really have a color that dominates. The closest one I can think of is black. Just like I've got the house editions for the Harry Potter books, and you know they like using a black background for that. And then my Gone series is in black, and there's often black in the backs of just other random books. And then like my Dragons in Our Midst series, completely black, just about. So black, but not really. When you'll see my shelves in their entirety when I do the bookshelf tour, you'll see they're quite colourful. I don't really have books that dominate one colour specifically. 9. What is the most damaged book on your shelf, and how did it get that way? Okay, I chose to answer this with my copy of Aragon, even though I do have a book, possibly more than one, that's more damaged than this, just because I damaged this one myself. My Twilight book, I think, was a combination of me and my dad, and my Heroes of Olympus paperbacks, the first 2 books, were a result of lending them to my brother. And the reason why he's no longer allowed to borrow books unless I'm watching him use them. And he has to have a bookmark. Yeah, so. As you can see, it is extremely battered, like, extremely. If we open it up, you'll see, I need to tape this. It is so battered, it is so damaged. And the only reason it got this way was just due to general wear and tear. I was reading this constantly when I was at boarding school. It was a lifeline for me, and because it's the oldest one in the series, it's the most damaged, but all of them are damaged. All of them are extremely damaged. Because this series was my absolute lifeline at boarding school. It got me through it, and I just kept reading it. So, yeah, it got so damaged, and is the reason why I now have trust issues with paperbacks, because I'm never getting rid of this book, because I love it so much, and it has such sentimental value to me, but it's the reason why I don't buy paperbacks anymore, because look how damaged this got. This book is not old. This book came out in, what's the publication date? 2005? I think that's when it's telling me it was published. Yeah, 2005. Dang it, that's over 15 years ago. Okay, maybe it is old. I did not realize this. I read this in 2009. Which is over 10 years ago. Oh my goodness, I'm feeling old. But, it's not as old as it could be, okay? It should not be this bad. But it is. Because I read it so much. Like, the spine is completely cracked. miss it. I love it. It's mine, my precious. Okay. But the other books are not quite as bad as Aragon, but they're not doing so hot either. Alright, next one. Do you have a book with any printing errors? As far as I'm aware, the answer to that is no. What's the ugliest spine on your shelf? See, I don't like judging my babies by their spines. And honestly, I take this to mean like which spine sticks out the most to you and annoys the crap out of you. Do I have one? Maybe this copy of Del Toro Quest because I lost the dust jacket. And yes, I drew on the cover, sue me. I got bought in class. Yeah. I think this bothers me, but to be honest, most of the spines I don't have issues with because, oh boy. Yeah, I don't really have an issue with spines. Okay, next question. What is your dream bookshelves? To be honest, I don't have a particular thing. My only dream is to have enough bookshelves that I don't need to double up like this, or I can get rid of the random stuff that's on my shelves, like this. So that when I want a book, I don't have to remove 10,000 things to get to said book. That's my only dream. Have enough space for all of my stuff. What is the tallest book on your bookshelves? Okay. Tallest book, tallest. I have a whole bookshelf down here of tall books, but I believe my tallest one is this. And this is just a photo album of me as a child. It's a bunch of pictures of me as a kid. My mum put them all together, and at some point she gave me and my brother our copies to keep safe. So I keep it safe by keeping it on my bookshelves. What is the smallest book? The smallest, the tiniest, the baby. The tiniest book I have is Felicity Wesh's Little Book of Peace. This was like a childhood thing I got for myself a while ago. I read a lot of Felicity Wishes as a kid. I do mean a lot, like an excessive amount. Okay. What is the most prized book on your bookshelves? I have two answers for this one. I have two. One is prized for sentimentality, the other one's a little bit different in that regard. Oh. What the? Oh, Pete's sake. This is what I mean. I don't like having a million stuff in front of my books because then it's hard and then I get paranoid every time you fall. Did you get damaged? No. No. Okay. I have two books. Okay, we'll go with the sentimental one first. This is my Bible. This Bible was given to me when I turned 13, or was about to turn 13. It was on the day of my confirmation, and it was shortly before I left home for boarding school the first time. And it's been with me ever since, and it's gotten me through a lot of tough times, and it was given to me by my parents. If you look, you'll see they put a personalized thing in the front. It's also incredibly damaged because I have loved this book so much. It's highlighted, it's annotated. It's been through so much with me. I love this book so much. I always say if I had to grab one thing from my house, if it was burning, it would be this book. If I had this book and everything else burned, I would be okay. That's how much this book means to me. It is so important to me. I love this book so much. And the other book is for far less sentimental reasons and more for an awesome reason. That is this copy I've got of Doctor Who How to Be a Time Lord Official Guide. And that is because I went to a Doctor Who convention and I got it signed by Matt Smith. And this book is written from the perspective of the 11th Doctor, which is of course the Doctor that Matt Smith played. So it's like I got it signed by the Doctor himself. So yeah, I have huge value towards this book. Huge. And I think we've only got one more question. Question 18, a book that makes you slip back in time. I have so many. So like the Aragon book I mentioned, or make me slip back to boarding school. Del Toro, Rowan of Rin makes me slip back to my childhood via the audiobook. Same with Narnia, because those books I listened to on repeat as a child. Same with the fourth Harry Potter. I listened to those books so much I could quote them verbatim. Okay, I knew those books so well. But the example I'm going to give you is of a truly underrated series, in my opinion. And that is Gone by Michael Grant. This book takes me back to when I had just arrived back in Australia after living in Tanzania for 10 years. I found this in a bookstore and I loved it, and I got my parents to get the rest of the books on the ebook, and then eventually got physical copies, but I had this one in physical, and I take it everywhere with me. I take it to class, and I got so obsessed with it that all of my books, I would write the titles like this, and I was just always reading it during break. Yeah, this book just makes me slip back to when I first came back. Also read this series, it is so good. But yeah, heed the warning on the back, it does contain scenes of cruelty and there is definitely violence. Like, I think this book should probably have a trigger warning for some people on it. In Lies, that's the third book in this series, it talks about eating disorders and that might be a trigger for some people. And I think in some of the later books there is talk about suicide and that sort of thing, so it's a very dark series, and whenever I tell people I love this series they always get very surprised because I'm not a dark person, but I do. So, and that was the last question. I really hope you enjoyed this book tag I did. And hopefully the next video I will post will be the bookshelf tour, but we'll see. This all counts on when my best mate can come down and film it, because she's got work. Unlike me at the moment, I'm on break from school and I don't have a job yet. So, yeah, hopefully soon. Anyway, if you like this video, leave a comment, maybe subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye guys!